Oh, it's locked.
How are you so smart?
Oh, whatever.
Lol.
No, I spawned as the wrong character. Someone kill me. Kill me. Yup.
You must get the hunter perk. Fuck
Oh,
off.
wow. Need to get used to that blocking now.
Oh no! Yes.
Yes. Oh, I have 1/5 of my health. I'm a healthy giant. Okay? A rock takes away my last remaining lifeblood.
Too many on the ball, midget.
No! 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 Yes! I can't.
Fuck, let me reload, man. Fuck. It's such a stupid fucking bolt. Yes, I love it.
What? Where'd my shield go?
Marco?
I don't know. I need to get used to this blocking.
Ow.
I literally don't have enough time to block. Like between blocks, you can get a rock in there.
Yucking out, please.
Fuck off!
Well, you're
What you
blocking
gonna
me
do
now.
now?
I'm out of rocks.
The way you lean, you like reach for the punch is so fucking funny.
Oh! Ow. Yes, see, one headshot now I'm dead.
Fuck off! I love killing midgets.
Oh, dude, it's my new kink. Yes, yes, Joel.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, ah. Huh?
My God.
Oh! You tanked the mole to the fucking head. Man, you really are
Yes.
fucking something.
Why? I was busy killing a big guy.
Thank you.
Oh, jeez, Matt Lawrence. Oh no.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Glitch TV. Tonight we'll be doing the tutorials of the Kerbal space program. So we'll be beginners. So it's just like a space 101. So yeah, we It's gonna be a tedious process, but we are gonna learn it from the start, because the last time I played it there was a lot of stuff missing from this game. But let's see how it goes, and thank you for joining. Carrot, that's Marku. Marku does that. I know you're referring to the intro video there. Marku is an exploiter by nature, so yeah. He was running around killing us with the rocks, and there's nothing we could have done about it. So let's get started with the basics. Welcome to today's lecture on vessel construction. I'm Werner von Kerman. Whether you want to put the satellite into orbit, make a transcontinental flight, or step onto the very surface of the moon, you're going to need to build yourself a ship. It should be pretty easy, even if you're not a famous rocket scientist like myself. Something wrong with your eyes there, German? In this tutorial, I will first show you around the Kerbal Space Center. I will take you vehicle assembly building, where you learn how to construct a simple ship. We'll cover adding the removing parts, what the parts do, how they change their performance settings, and the parts which have the options, and how to control staging. At the end of the tutorial, you will have a craft fit for a quick hop from the launch pad. At each step, I will lock out all controls other than the ones you need for that step. If you still manage to mess up, don't become as skilled as I am now, you can press the back button to go back to fix things. It won't light up unless you do a mess. So much. We're now at the Kerbal Space Center. I'll give you a quick rundown on how to get around. The KSC for short is home to the pinnacle of Kerbal endeavors and achievements for space exploration. Using the facilities you can see here, you will be able to manage your space program, create rockets and planes, track your Kerbal explorers as they roam the solar system, find exciting new uses for explosive substances, and in case of emergency, hire more Kerbals. Find out more about each facility, you can hover over them. Vehicle assembly, space plane hangar, mission control, astronaut complex, administration building, research and development, tracking station, launch pad. Okay, I'm done with you. Yes, very good. What you see in the middle of the screen is the construction area where the parts are placed and the craft is constructed. On the left side of the screen is the parts toolbox, and they will show the parts available in each of the different categories, once there are any to pick off, that is. If you want your craft to be controllable, you need a command module, and it's best to make it the first part you place. This part will either contain some plucky Kerbal crew or automated pilot mechanism. Okay, to the left. So I guess it's okay. Zoom. Yeah, as I move it. If you'd like the pilot to be able to make more than one flight, he or she will have to return safely to the ground or water on Kerbal. Parachutes are a simple way to make sure that happens. They can be found in the utility tab. When you're choosing pods, you can view the details of available pods hovering over them. Okay, go ahead and select the MK parachute, left click, drag utilities. Okay. Sorry about that. Need to get used to this. There you go. Just let me know in the comments if my voice is clear enough. But I should know if I must talk louder. Some parts like our parachute here have configurable options. To see these, we need to right click on the parachute. We just attach the part that you will. Oh, sorry about the yawns. Just came from watching a movie during load shedding. Now let's see, the opening height on the chute is at least 1,000 meters. Okay, it is, because safety is a Kerbal way after all. For the minimum pressure slider, move it a bit to the right to 0. You can hide these options by right clicking on the background screen. Next up, we're going to need something to make us go. Click on engines, tab at left showing available engines and solid rocket motors. Yeah, sorry, this is very basic explanations, but yes, it's good because then we can get it from the start. What do they say usually? Grab one and connect the bottom of the pod. You may need to zoom in or move the camera to be able to do so. Boop. Oops, I forgot you were starting out. You're not a famous rocket scientist, and to make that craft survival as it stands, now you'd have to be better at rocket science than me. Impossible. That problem with the craft is that the solid rocket is too powerful for the payload. A single small pod and a chute. It will either burn up on accent from going too fast or burn up coming back down. Even if you survive that, the craft mass will cause it to fall too far. Well, let me get some coffee on Superman mode. Single small part and nice cause to fall too fast. Okay, I promise to teach you how to change that, make it work later in the tutorial, but for now let's continue. Well, at least this way I get to tell you about removing parts. Pick up the back thumper, BACC thumper, and either drop it back over the parts toolbox or press delete. There we go. It said let out a solid motor. That's a better match for a ship this size. Yes, it's this one. Okay. Nice one. You've built the simplest survival craft possible. We could go launch this right now, but it might be safer to explain one other thing first. In the bottom right, you will see the staging stack. It's the box with the numbers 0 and icons from the parachute and engines in it. This stack shows us which parts will be activated as we stage our rocket. Okay, what this shows us that when we activate the next stage, both engines and the parachute will be triggered. While it could be considered funny to open the parachute and fire the motor at the same time, it's not going to give you a much of a flight. To fix this, we need to separate the engine and the chute into 2 stages. If you minimize with the stage, you will see a plus. Okay. Plus. Add new stage. If you add too many, click the minus button. Excellent. Now drag the engine icon to stage 1. Okay. That's it. We now have a safe, well, relative safe craft that's ready to go. Let's make sure that if we need this design again, we don't have to build it all from scratch. At the top of the screen, you will see the name of our craft. titled Space. Doesn't seem too majestic. Why don't you change that to be something more your style, and you can add description if you'd like. When you use the load screen later, these names and descriptions help you grab the right vessel. Small. Small. Oh boy. Could have made a young man. Okay, click on save. Excellent. Feel free to play around with the parts and techniques I've shown you, and when you're ready to continue, press the red button in the upper right to the exit. Back to the training menu, try the flight basic tutorial to learn how to fly this little craft, and then the intermediate construction tutorial can teach you more about the editing. Okay, so we don't have any other parts here. I guess that we're done with this one. Okay, that's part one, I guess. We finished getting started and basic construction. Now we're going to do basic flight. Learn the basics of flying a spacecraft in Kerbal Space Program KSP. I'm just going to call it from that for now. Welcome to the Kerbal Space Center launch facility. I trust you've already checked the basic construction tutorial. If not, I recommend you do so before going through this one. Today we will do a run through of all important controls for your spacecraft. Our little hopper from your basic construction lesson with Werner may not have all of them, but will do full run through once in here. Flying a spacecraft is all about being as a pilot. Your main flight controls will affect the pitch, yaw, and roll of the ship. Let's look at all those first. All the other controls will be locked until they're needed in the tutorial. Yaw, roll. Okay. Pitch, yaw, and roll are the three directions you will rotate your craft. To help you visualize these, we've taken a holiday snap and the hopper below. Thank you. You control your ship rotation using these controls. Okay, pitch up, W, and down it is left and right, yaw, and roll is Q. By controlling pitch, yaw, and roll together, you can keep the ship in a controlled flight. Try it now, and notice the indicator in the lower left side move as you provide control inputs. Oh, there we go. Wait. Was yeah, the bottom left corner. Right. Throttle plus pitch, yaw, and roll are the main controls you'll need to master for successful crash-free flight. We'll skip over the throttle controls for now, as the vessel has no need for it. Don't worry, I'll explain it another time when it's of use. Remember that all of these controls have a limited amount of effectiveness. So bigger, heavier ships will probably respond much more sluggish to the controls than a little small one. It's also good to keep in mind that as stages are separate from the ship, it will become lighter, and that will usually mean easier control. In flight, we plan you put into the stage sequence of your ship come into play. For launch to the final deployment of the descent parachute, you can control the activation of several of the ship's parts by activating stages, space, launch, or activate next stage. Notice the stage indicator in the lower left corner. It shows the current active state. Since we haven't launched yet, it's showing the first stage as active. So this okay there. I have used staging controls locked for now, so the stage indicator is glowing purple. One more thing, I'm staging service course strive. When you change your mind, sorry, about something, you can edit the stage sequence on the fly. Pun intended. No need to go back to this assembly. An important part of flying is knowing how your ship is oriented and where it is going. That's why a good pilot is always aware of the ship's altitude, where it is pointing, and the velocity vector, where it is going. These aren't always the same direction, and as your skills improve, you should pick up on these. Big round instrument on the lower center of the screen is called a nav ball. This device sums up most of the critical information needed for proper death-free flight. Death-free. Okay, so when are we gonna go now? Nav ball. RCS, SAS, Sultana, Throttle, G-Force, Kerbal, which is even have a Kerbal here. When there are multiple crew, you can cycle through them. Then to external view appreciates. If you look around, you can see nothing here. Okay, I guess that's normal. Yeah. Ooh. And it's sitting upside down, nice. Okay. I think we can go on. Flight instruments. In the top center part of the screen, you have the altimeter, vertical speed indicator, and atmosphere gauges. The altimeter will show your distance to the planet's surface at sea level. This means the actual surface may be much closer, so watch out for the ground when landing. Your vertical speed indicator shows you how quickly your altitude is changing when launching. It's considered best to keep this gauge pointing up. Where's that? I guess it's this. Lights, animation. The atmosphere gauge indicates how deep the ship is in the planet's atmosphere. This helps you know if the ship is high enough for orbiting without losing speed to air resistance, or judge how effective wings and controls are. One last thing before we give the rocket the green light, in the stage stack you can see the indicator for your parachute. This indicator shows when the parachute will be activated by staging. You already know that, but the background will also change color to indicate when it is safe to stage the parachute, and the foreground, the parachute bit of the icon itself, will change color depending on the parachute stage. Note, however, that by default parachutes will not deploy when unsafe, even if you stage them. The left three stages show safe, risk, and unsafe to deploy. The chute is unstaged, white in the left three. The right three shows after staging, arm deployed and cut shredded. When you are familiar with chute icons, color we can. Okay, enough talk. I'll unlock the flight controls and you'll be clear for launch. Thank you, because this is enough talk. At any time, you may press escape to pause the game. In this pause menu, you can restart the flight or end this tutorial. Choose end scenario and return to the main menu. For now, get yourself prepared and hit space when ready to launch. Don't forget, our hopper has only a solid rocket motor, so there's no throttle control. That's why we don't review the throttle here. Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Oh, what's that? Whee! No more fuel. Oh, but we are going somewhere. Whee! Let's see what the Kerbal sees. Oh, no, no, we don't want to do that. This is what he sees. Oh, there's a window. Okay. He's not in space yet. Oh, shit. Okay. Difficult to keep that thing there. And we are falling, that's why. Boop. 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 Oh no, make a Kerbal around torpedoing to the floor. Ah! No, we're going straight for the space center. I want to do that. Wait, is this? Bitch. Yawn. Don't have control, so it is what it is. Oh shit. That didn't work out. You might want to try stay alive when you an actual mission, you know. Don't feel bad, I'll send someone to clean that up and you don't try again. Make sure you fly high enough and you can try again. Make sure you fly enough to be going slow enough for parachute deployment, and make sure you remember to stage it to arm it. Oh, that's where I messed up. Poor Kerbal. He was too young. Valentino. Blush! No, we did all of this already. Why must I? Yeah, going that way this way. So if we come down fast again, we will fall in the water. No problem there. Oh, should have done that. Should have done that. Okay, we have to. No, I didn't want to activate it yet. Ah, freaking hell, this is gonna take forever. Let's see what our Kerbal is seeing. He's confused. He's like, oh no, the ocean, I hate the water. Hope there's no, I don't know, what would they call sharks? No, sharks. Where's the, it is the atmosphere gauge. There we go. Whee! Stop it, I can't. You're gonna bomb it. Okay, we're still looking for thing that shows us how. Ah, now sit back and enjoy the descent. our place. That's for sure. Stages. Okay, we're done. That end scenario. Okay, so now we did the basic flight. Now we're gonna go to the intermediate construction. Now we're gonna go into space. I wanna at least for tonight we must go up until the orbit. Have an orbit around our own little planet of Kerbal. Hello again. Glad you came back. Get started. Go ahead and enter the VAB and I'll give you the overview of what we're building today. Okay, here we are again. Now to business. If you remember, in our last construction tutorial we had covered how to build a simple hopper and some of the basics for the construction area. In this tutorial we'll expand your knowledge of some of the more useful features in the van. And we'll build a more complex craft that will be able to get us out of the atmosphere. To build our new design, let's start with the craft we built in the basic construction tutorial. Through this one is just called hop. This will save us a little time, a bit of time, save us a little bit of time. And the account part is always happy when we save on time. Click on open. Here, this is hopper. Unlike last time, we're not bringing the whole vessel back, so we can change our parachute stats from what we used before. Right click on the parachute and verify that deployment altitude is set to 1000 as last time, but also set the minimum pressure slider all the way up to 7.5. That corresponds to an altitude on the Kerbal of about 2 kilometers and means a much shorter time hanging around during descent. Oh no. What happened? Are we still live, guys? I see there's something happening on my side. Sorry about this. Yeah, we are still live. Okay, first off, let's change the name of our craft and the description if you want, so that we still have our trash can special for later on. Simply change the name to something other than Hopper and we can proceed. Let's say Space Hopper. Short and simple. Starting craft and build from the start of a career game. Good enough to let you advance, cheap too. Into space. Oop, then. Yes. Okay. Great. For the craft, we are going to give the ship some additional purpose by attaching a science experiment. We can run these experiments during our travels and get valuable science data for Kerbal. There are a number of science experiments to be performed, but at the moment we only have the mystery goo containment unit available. Switch to the science tab to look at it. This is one of the most basic scientific experiments Kerbal scientists have devised, and one of the first things they want to try and understand better. I mean, they don't even know what color the goo is. I guess this is by science. not supposed to put it on it. Oh, we can use X to do it. Yo. Set it to ×2, then pick up the mystery and place it. That's what we did already. If we had too many more parts there, the craft we are making will be too heavy to survive re-entry safely, and too heavy to be slowed by our parachute, leading to sudden impact syndrome. So we will need to add a decoupler below the pod. Decouplers can be found in the coupling tab and let split the craft when we no longer need the lower parts. We won't be able to recover the discarded parts, but at least our craft and our Kerbal will survive re-entry. Payload coupler. Decouplers can be used in many ways, but for now, let's just add one of these to the bottom of the pod. Note the stack couplers have arrows. The arrow shows which side of the decouple. Make sure your decoupler arrow is pointing up towards the pod. It will be by default. Then you can change it. Well done. You'll recall, I hope, that the previous tutorial we had just a staging stack. Okay, so we have it already. When you add a decoupler, the extra stage is automatically added to the stack so that your new parts below the decoupler won't be staged at the same time as the above. You can of course still make these all around, but hopefully this will save you some time as we go. If you ever want to return to default staging, press reset. Okay. This time we're going to use a liquid propellant rocket engine. Unlike solid rocket motors, these engines don't carry their own propellant. They will so we need to add some fuel tanks. Go to the fuel tank tab. We are still using these early parts, so there are only FL100s available. FL fuel tanks. It's a small one, very small. Okay, we're going to need 5 of these tanks. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you place the first tank on the rocket, you can decouple that by duplicate it by holding left. Although I should have read first, right? Once you place okay, let's do it again. See, once you placed it, once you place the first tank, you can duplicate that by holding the left alt key and clicking on the tank. Alright, so I can do that. 2, 5. Add 5 fields in vessel. Good. Switch over to the engines tab now. The swivel engine you see here is obviously different from the flea we used before. This is a liquid engine and it needs and burns both liquid fuel and oxidizer. Funnily enough, that's what we just added to the rocket. That's the LVT-45 swivel liquid fuel engine. There we go. We are almost there. You just need to do. Okay. The last thing we are going to need is aerodynamics. So the system mode 4, so we place them both axes. Also turn the angles. Aerodynamics. We have basic pin here. There we go. Excellent. Now got a rocket that will let us reach for the stars. Admittedly, I did say reach for, as this is a basic rocket which can achieve orbit, but On the bright side, that means which you can't achieve all, but that means re-entry will also be basic. You've done a great job of building a basic hopper and a suborbital capable. Hopefully, you've learned a few things about how to a craft, build a craft, and how to use some of the shortcuts that are in there. Feel free to hang around if you're not gonna run. Oh, there's a lot more parts here. Truck coming in today, but I don't know what any of these are currently. So yeah. Alright, we did save it. Okay, we are done with intermediate construction, so now we're gonna go to suborbital flight. Learn how to escape Kerbal's atmosphere and return safely. In the tutorial, flight instructor Gene Kerman will take you through the essential flight controls and instruments required to launch a simple rocket and to an almost reachable altitude, and how to get back into one piece. Yeah, sorry for the English is running away. Sorry guys, I know this is not the most excitable stream so far, but it is. Oh, that looks wrong now, doesn't it? But it is a learning curve, so we are gonna learn together. This is not even how I built my rocket, but anyway, let's go. Can't we load? No, we can't load our rocket. Hello again, glad you came back. Today we will take an exciting step, getting your first Kerbal into space. Yep, with a capital S. Hopefully you remember the controls we discussed in the basic flight tutorial, but don't forget that you can always press escape and review key bindings buttons for a reminder. Tilt east to 80 degrees elevation on a naval by 150 milliseconds. Start at 50 milliseconds. Tilt east. Huge. Okay. Prepare for re-entry. Lastly, re-enter and land safe. Once we've reached burnout, tilt east 80 degrees elevation on the navel by 150 milliseconds. Okay. Tilt east 70 on the navel by 400 milliseconds. Start at 250. After burnout, coast up into space and have a look around. Prepare for re-entry. Lastly, re-enter and land. Shift throttle up. Then shift throttle down. Throttle max, throttle cut off. Unlike a hopper in our first lesson with new craft as liquid fuel engines, that means we can use the throttle to set up the output power of the ship's engine. Throttle is controlled by the following. Shift. Throttle. Max engine. That was max. SAS stands for Stability Augmentation System, although Kerbal astronauts usually refer to it as Sickness Avoidance Scheme. But whatever it stands for, what it does is try to stop the ship from spinning around using the computer controlled auto torque drive compression technology to counteract the rotation of the ship. It is the simplest mode. It will keep the ship aligned with the orientation it as when you turn SAS on, or if you pitch your roll while SAS on oriental when you release the control. SAS can be activated or deactivated momentarily by holding down the F key, and it can be toggled by pressing T. F. Okay. If you have problems following the maneuvers once you enable SAS and lift off, you can click the small red button to the left. Normal. Huh? You can click the small red button to the left of the nav wall that has a miniature target indicator. I guess it's one of these if it's on. Oh, okay. If you have a problem following the maneuvers, I guess I use this one then. But yes, the craft has a bit too much engines, so we're going to throttle down for launch. Set your throttle to 2/3 the upper of the two middle notches. One, also turn on SAS to help you control things. Press D to keep pointed where you want to be pointed. Sorry, mosquito. Troubles in paradise. During this lesson, some of the information is quite detailed and could take a while to read, as this is a short suborbital hop, and I don't want you to miss anything important. I will place a warning at the top of a page where you might want to pause the game. Okay, enough talk. I'll unlock the rest of the flight controls and you'll be clear to launch. At any time you press escape to pause the game in menu. You can restart the flight or end this tutorial and return to main menu. I've enabled the target marker on the nav wall. Give it a look. Double check your throttle is at the upper of the middle notches and slide, and it says able it's free. And lift up. More speed before we start the turn. Now that it's time to start turning, follow the target marker to 80 degrees by the time you reach 100. Good work. Get ready to turn further once you reach 2. Okay, now it's done. Looking good. Now let's turn a little more. We're aligning to get to a 70-degree pitch line and follow the marker. Excellent work. We've got a rocket just where it needs to be in order to reach space. You should be able to let SAS keep the craft steady for a while as we accelerate further. Now go ahead and throttle up. Hold the course and we'll reach stage burnout safe. We are going, gentlemen, to the moon. Warning. Detailed information. Press escape, pause. Great work. You succeeded in getting your ship on a trajectory bound for space. I've now set your target indicator to align with your velocity vector. That will minimize drag by turning the smallest side of the vehicle into the airflow. Somewhere around here you will see the nav wall speed indicator auto switch from surface to orbit, accompanied by the speed number jumping. Go ahead and switch it back to surface mode by clicking on it until it says surface again. You might have to notice some flickering flames near the end of the burnout there, which is due to high speed of your craft in the atmosphere. Normally your accent would be a little slower, but I'm sure my friend Warner has helped you build a ship that can withstand this heat. And besides, the high and this slow will be fine. If you want to have a look at the trajectory, you can switch to the map to have a look at the trajectory. Now that we're coasting our way to that's the highest point on our current trajectory path, we've got a little time to chat. Once you clear the atmosphere, we'll go over what we can do in space. So we literally just okay, we have okay guys, so we are making it out to space. What's that? Island. I don't like that. There we are. Barely see the space station from here. Yes. While you float up here beyond the atmosphere, I'll quickly tell you about a couple of things you can do. With the advanced enough astronaut complex of the KSI, we can train our Kerbal to be able to spacewalk, or even, although we won't be doing that in this flight, also when we are carrying science devices like our goo containers, we can perform experiments. Feel free to grow the goo containers. Them. As we near the edge of the atmosphere again, it's time to reorientate the pod to get ready to re-enter. We're only going to re-enter with the pod and chute and goo canisters, but you're not going to decouple yet. In a real mission, it's best to keep your upper stage around until the last moment. You need whatever you never know when you might need it. Anyways, it's best to re-enter the bottom first, and since we extended at about 70-degree pitch, we naturally re-enter at about minus 70 pitch. That means you want to aim the top of the capsule at the 70-degree pitch line, but the opposite heading. This is at heading of 270 and nav ball at 70 pitch. And I've placed the target marker there to help you see it. Turn off SAS and change your altitude, and then turn it back. Okay, turn off SAS. Okay, yeah. Now hold steady on your new altitude, let SAS do its job, and get ready to decouple the stage and start the atmosphere thing. This Kerbal is having a time of his life. Let me take a photo. Oh that was not supposed to happen. I was trying to do something else. We just messed up this mission. There's a sound which I guess. I heard about this one. You're now re-entering Kerbal. Make sure to keep all hands and feet inside the pod at the time. We don't want to get burnt or anything. Don't mind the plane runner is a world famous rocket scientist after all, and has built the ship with that stand. Uh, uh. Okay, last time we watched the parachute icon to wait for the right time to open the chute. This time we are going to do something a little different. Remember in the construction tutorial with the vessel, he said the chute do not semi-deploy until that atmosphere of pressure. That means the chute won't perform the first of its two deployment stages program. If you activate it by staging now, forward get me about 2000 altitude above sea level and the craft should be traveling slowly enough. By then, shoot will survive. Just up to okay, there we go. Hmm. Okay. So now, while we set your shoot not actually semi-deployed until around 2 p.m., we do look out for you at the mission flow. We do need to ensure that the opening height, its second full deployment step is correct, even just from steering flight. So right click on the parachute knife and check the sliders. Don't touch the pressure slider or bad things happen. Make sure full deployment altitude is no less than 1000 for you. Enough time to slow down as you reset. While waiting on look to the bottom of the capsule. While you're looking at the bottom of the capsule, note that your heat shield okay, so I guess we can just wait for things out and it will go on its own. So, okay, we're done with this one, gents. Oh, I put my face in the space of Kerbal, I see. So I'm the astronaut in charge, yeah? Obviously. Okay, but can't we just now get this done with? Because you know what's gonna happen now. It's gonna go to the floor. You don't need to see that. Oh, and the Kerbal is upside down. Yeah. Ta-da-da-da-da-da. We've done it. Okay. Advanced construction. That's gonna be for orbital. In our last tutorial, we built a vessel that could escape the atmosphere, but it didn't have enough oomph to escape for long. This time around, we cover more advanced rocket design concepts like multiple stages and boosters, as well as an extra part like RCS and a solar panels. You'll want these if you spend more time than a few minutes in orbit. When you're done, you'll have a craft capable of ascent to orbit, orbital operations, and a safe return to Kerbal. And you can test it out and go for orbit tutorial, which will teach you how to make use of it. You'll notice that there's a lot more parts available in the old time. If you mess up and say something, manage to delete your old craft, you can hit Ctrl Z to undo your last change. Again, you only have one part available, so go ahead and select it. If you select the wrong part, add shoot. Now we're going to construct the upper stage. This upper stage will finish replacing the pod in orbit, and once they provide RCS steering, thrusters, and electricity for the pod, it will also provide all maneuvering capabilities in orbit, including the re-entry burn. It's going to consist of a decoupler. We don't want to carry it home, an RCS fuel tank, a liquid fuel tank, 4 RCS thrusters, 4 solar panels, 4 batteries, and an efficient upper storage engine. That's quite a shopping list, isn't it? So let me know when you're ready to see. Ready as well. Firstly, we will add a stack decoupler below the pod. If the arrows are pointing down, detach from pod and use that. Next, we'll add the RCS tank. RCS stands for Reaction Control System, and this fuel will help us find maneuvers. Go to the tank category. Go to your craft is going to need all the mono propellant in the tank, so to save some weight, right click, get it to the pod, and move less efficient, but is good for small velocity change. We'll be adding multiple liquid fuel tanks to the stage to get the right amount for the upper stage engine, and we need an extra tank to offset the weight of the RCS. So add a tiny rocket propellant tank. It's the one named TL or FLT 100 fuel tank, and then add a medium one below it. Lastly, for the main part of the upper stage, we'll add an engine. The Terrier engine produces almost no thrust at sea level air pressure, but it's highly efficient in space and above 20 kilometers where the atmosphere is thin enough. Nicely done. Now that it's pretty well assembled upper stage, if you say to myself, it'll get you back your what get you to orbit if you put enough rocket under it. While we have this reasonably simple vessel here, let's explore one of the other useful tools we have available to make sure that the ship flies controllably. Some part needs to be placed carefully around a point inside the ship called the center of mass. It's a spot where the mass on one side is balanced by the mass on the other side. Thrust applies through the com will cause the ship to fly. Anyway, will thrust properly applied around the som will cause the ship to throttle without such a useful and important thing that we added to so assemblable in ways. So yeah. What? Right click on each of the fuel tanks and drag the fuel and oxidizer propellant levels down to zero. Don't touch the monopropellant levels as they won't be. Now that you know where the com is when move the spaceship without rotating is called translation. This is a useful kind of maneuver for several reasons, including docking to another craft. In order for translation with RCS to avoid unwanted rotations, you need to balance the thrusters around the COM so that the net sum of force is balanced right on this natural pivot point. For two equal sets of thrust, each set should be equivalent from the com, and single sets where we're doing here, they should be right around the com itself. For two equal sets of thrusters, each should be equivalent from the com, and for single sets, okay, so it should be thrusters should be around the center. What makes it complicated is that the COM changes during flight as just so. So you need to place thrusters at the compromise point between the wet com and the dry com. Note that this career mode games thrusters don't become available until fairly late. In the meantime, the reaction. If you don't get this quite right, you can also use the offset gizmo, fine tune their position, making sure you turn angle snaps off before using the offset. You will want fine adjust. Drag one of the axes to get it. Lots of things on a craft use electricity charge. See, that's what school science school rock electricity. In order to keep your batteries topped up, you'll need the way to generate power. Now, some engines generate electricity while they're running, but you don't want to keep your engines running in orbit. Your orbit would get all kinds of messed up and you won't run. You will run out of power. Now, command probe has some batteries built in it, but to be safe, you can add some more batteries and solar panels. Switch to electrical category and then ensure we have the angle snap turned on and are still on 4 times. We have that. I have a solar panel on the lower end of the fuel tank. Press A to rotate the tank. Okay, and place. That's what's going to get moved, so that's why we keep it there. Okay. Excellent work. Built a nice starter upper stage, which will do well for some orbital exploration. Now we need to work on getting it up to orbit, and that's build up the lower stage. Decoupling. Oh, that is when you have the decoupler, a fairing placed around the engine. Now that we need to add the fuel tanks for lower stage. Add 2 of the medium rocket propellant tanks. For lower stage, we need to do an engine that is let's get scientific for a second. Engine performance measurements results from speed of engine changes, the amount of atmospheric pressure around changes. Just as the upper stage needed an engine that is good at low air pressure, high altitudes, the lower stage will need boosters which are powerful at the higher air pressures of low altitude to launch pad, and to help carry the rocket through the transition from launch to upper stage, it will need a sustainer. Engines usually sit between boosters and upper stage engines from a performance perspective having a wide range. To add the engine you see there, the LV35 there. As its default thrust, the swivel is too powerful for the rocket we are creating and for the accent above we're going to go for orbit tutorial, so you'll need to lower its thrust level. This isn't good solution as picking a smaller, slightly lighter engine what thrust level we want, but well, there are only so many options. Right click on the swivel and lower the thrust limiter to 65. Will then only produce 65% of its full thrust potentially, but it will also run longer because it's only burning 60%, 65%. Nice. You now have a core of your rocket complete, but as I said before, we'll also be adding boosters to help sustain the engine of the rocket up and running. We'll add 2 boosters symmetrically so that we keep our craft balance and to make sure we don't lug the use lug the useless dry mass into the ground after they burn it, flash them using decouplers. Okay, so we want 2 of them. Bottom lower. Hammer. Okay. Looks better. It's a kick early on. Unlike liquid fuel engines, where you can adjust the throttling during flight, once you light an SRB, it burns at constant thrust till it's out of fuel. We can, however, use the throttle limiter as we did on the swivel to set the constant thrust before we roll out the launch pad. Right click on one of the SRBs and change the thrust limiter to 50. Do note that changing the tweakable value of this pod has been placed using symmetry will have the same change applied to the symmetrical counterpart. Remember when I said I'll teach you how to make that pod and thumper craft from construction basic survival? Well, this thrust adjust is how that was done. So right now there's a flat banking stock. We need to make it aerodynamic, which is simply not a good look. So bad at it. While we're in the tab of the toolbox, let's pins, various sizes and styles for since these fins are control surfaces. They also add some extra control authority when low in the atmosphere where the air is thick enough for them to help to effect. Add that generally near the bottom of the lowest fuel tank, the lowest stage, and make sure they don't intersect the decouplers. Okay, so you only want, yeah. Alright. There we go. Excellent. We've got all components, basically all rockets. Let's run through a few extra things before we call it a day. Firstly, we saw a review staging stage to check the order of the actions part. Luckily, I set the fire before sustaining. Basically, move the swivel staging icon into the same stages as the Move the swivels stage icon down into the same stage as this. Oh, note that I'm only creating stage sequence. Now it's gonna go off with them. They're just gonna burn out. Finally pick up the pod and rotate it 90 degrees around vertical axis. That will rotate the ship, not just the vac, but also set orientation when you go out the launch pad. Always make use of every true brave crew survive, and hopefully you'll get the same. It doesn't always work out that way, of course, but it's enough thought it counts. At least those of us not in rocket at the time. With that in mind, let's set a, a board action group for your craft for use in case of emergency. Note that the career mode you'll have upgrade the VAB or SPH in order to access action. Click on the turquoise action group button on the left of the toolbar. Action groups let you assign the functions of one or more parts to a single specific key. There are some default action groups. Landing gear automatically go in the gear group. Brakes on wheels go in the brake group, etc. And some custom ones activate by the keyboard, not keypad numbers, because of the order of these keys. Standard boards, the action groups are numbered 1 to 9 and then 0. Set up an action group, click on the desired action key from the menu, then click on the part you want to activate. To add and remove items, you simply click on them to move them left or right between columns to clear the action group. Select the part that we're going to set up an abort action group. It's triggered by pressing backspace or by clicking the big red abort button. It slides out from the left of the altitude panel at the top of the screen when you mouse over that area. First click on the abort. Great, now click on the decoupler right below the pod. Decoupler. Okay. Then click on each liquid engine and turn and turn. Liquid engine turn and assign the shutdown function to the group final click. Hello? Hello, Brian. Sorry, I only saw your message now. I don't think I did this right, yeah? Okay, so it says click on the decouple right below the pod. Bang. And then add its decouple action. Boom. Then click on each liquid engine. I don't think that's. Okay. Maybe this false one, that's why. Then click on each liquid engine in turn and assign their shutdown. Okay. Go now. Finally, click on one of the radial decouplers. Since these. Still. Oh, I'm so stupid. Yeah. Reading is a skill. They never said that we can set the engines. Shut down. Shut down. Wow. Sorry, we lost Brian there. That's stupidity. And there you are. Your orbital rocket is ready to fly. It's been a long session and thanks for hanging in there, in which we covered lots of different advanced techniques for rocket construction. Give the new ship a name and save it. Okay, let's just call it Orbit. Forward in orbit. Okay, so that is the advance. We are getting to go for orbit. Okay, let's do that and then I think we'll call it a night. In the next stream we're gonna either continue there or at least start our own career and set up an orbit. You will decide, you'll let me know in the comments. Okay, so today we will tackle an absolute essential skill for any space program getting to orbit. Without this skill, you might as well be teaching Kerbal Flight Simulator. I trust you've already checked the other flight tutorials as well as the advanced construction one and are familiar with the Kerbal 1 vessel we will be launching today. It's not really a eyeball plan, but it's yes, similar enough. Alright then, let's do as I said before. The plan here is to get our vessel and pilot safely into orbit. As with the suborbital flight we did previously, we will follow the curved path to get to the point where we can circularize our orbit. Today's gravity turn, however, will be much shallower than the path we followed previously, so that we build speed towards orbit. This is different from how the Kerbal pilots of old did it. They would head straight up and then hang a right as if the air was soup or something. We'll be turning early and smooth, but don't turn too far or you might be mistaken for one of those low-flying turkeys. As with previous flights, I will place a target marker on the nav ball to show you the orbit optimal velocity vector, but do note that the indicator won't be around normally and not usually used the way the tutorial uses. Will also display some technical information about your path as you go to help you learn the right way to get there. For now, just set your throttle to max because we set the fuel tank already. Aha! You should now see the marker on the nav ball, so you'll have something to follow, and the ship has been designed so that you don't need to worry about throttle control during the action. Hit space when you're ready. If you want Valentina, the Kerbal pilot, to fly the curve for you, then you can enable SAS and set the mode target after liftoff. Cool. 10. We can do the countdown again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off. Okay, we are doing the pitch. Oh, I leave it. We'll need to press space when it's time. We're almost out of fuel in the SOP, so get ready to eject. Lost some altitude there. Oh shit. We're way off course. This time we are just gonna let this do it. Where's the fuel? And let's drop it. Oh no, that's not good. We fucked up again. And revert again. Sorry about that. I was too eager. We almost killed ourselves. Okay, now we sit tight. There we go. That was you're doing great. Keep following the dog and you can get ready to stage again to discard those things. Great. Now you can keep an eye on a trajectory while the track reach a bar. If you hover over the map, oops. Trying to just map docking mode, dispatch stage mode. Then sure that it's shut off, and now when it goes to the atmosphere, 70 kilometers altitude. You may notice your speed dropping. 70,000 kilometers. Okay. Now that we are clear of the atmosphere, we can warp ahead through time to get to the opus. Multiply important rocket scientists like us do not have time to waste. Who's next? There's the opus. I didn't see. Almost there now. All we need to do is accelerate some more so that we fall past Kerbal. That's basically what an orbit is, falling and missing. Gravity will be pulling us towards the center of Kerbal, but we will be traveling so fast that we constantly miss. Rotate your craft to a line. Rotate your craft to align it with the prowl grade marker will that or use okay. I'll cut the engines right. Oh, I never. Oops. Never. You're now officially in orbit. That's quite an achievement. Hopefully, you can see the difference between the suborbital hop and this reaching orbit action, and just how far and early we turned. Also, notice how we designed our rocket to accelerate reasonably throughout the ascent and didn't go straight to the ludicrous speed. Overpowering the ship is a common mistake. That is as far as I will be taking you today. We will catch up again in an Orbit 101 tutorial where I will show you about orbit and adjusting them. If you want to fly solo for a bit, you can try bringing Valentina home from this tutorial flight. You'll need to turn around 180 degrees and burn retrograde until you less than 20 kilometers. At which height the atmosphere will most of the braking for you. Stage your way up the stage and hit the atmosphere edge. Okay. So yeah, there we have an orbit around Kerbal. Perfect. Focus. Oh, now we're warping around. Dark side of the moon. Planet. Yeah. Okay, we Kerbal here. Nice. Thank you for watching today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, playing the tutorial with me. We will be continuing with Orbital 101 if chance allows us, hopefully tomorrow. So thank you for tuning in to another Glitch TV episode, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.